Airlines and government are partners in supporting global connectivity. Airlines carry the passengers and cargo. On the other hand, government and air navigation service providers inform airlines about the routes that they can fly and with what restrictions. Airlines most times comply with that guidance. That was the case with MH17 that was shut down from the Ukrainian airspace in defiance of international standards and protocol. The global impact of this heinous crime on air transport is our subject on the program. This is Aviation This Week on Channels Television. And many thanks for joining us. I'm Bukola Joe Oketumbi.
Newsflash takes off with the appointment of the former Corps Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Commission, the FRSC, Mr. Osita Chidoka, as the new Aviation Minister. He was sworn in by President Goodluck Jonathan alongside Abubakar Olarewaju, who was appointed National Planning Minister. Mr. Chidoka replaces Stella Udua, fired in February amid allegations of mismanagement of public funds. Until his appointment, former Minister of State for Trade Samuel Otom was the Supervising Minister of Aviation. From ministerial appointments to a tragedy averted at the Malam Aminu Kano International Airport. As a truck supplying aviation fuel on a Turkish Airlines aircraft suddenly burst into flames. However, no casualty was recorded except for the truck that was burnt completely. The near disaster occurred shortly after the Turkish Boeing 737 aircraft with registration number TCJYA landed at exactly 10:44 p.m. from Istanbul, disembarking Kano passengers before heading for Chad Republic to discharge N'Djamena passengers. On the foreign scene, the wreck of a plane that was carrying 116 people from Burkina Faso to Algiers has been found in Mali. The Air Algeria commercial plane lost contact with controllers early Thursday, just an hour after it took off as it headed into a rainstorm. Nearly half of the people on the flight were French. The passengers aboard included 51 of these French nationals, 27 Burkina Faso nationals, 8 Lebanese, 6 Algerians, 5 Canadians, 4 Germans, 2 Luxembourg nationals, 1 Swiss, 1 Belgian, an Egyptian, 1 Ukrainian, 1 Nigerian, and a Cameroonian. And finally, AirAsia authorities have cited typhoon conditions as a probable factor that brought down a Trans-Asia Airways plane on a Taiwanese island, killing 48 people. The ATR-72 operated by the airline was carrying 58 passengers and crew when it crashed on Penghu in the Taiwan Strait between Taiwan and China. The plane crashed into buildings after a failed attempt to land at Magong Airport. The other 10 people on board were hurt. The crash of flight GE222 is Taiwan's first fatal air accident in 12 years. In 2002, a China Airlines Boeing 747 broke apart in mid-air near Penghu and crashed into the Taiwan Strait, killing all 225 people aboard. Following these crashes, travelers have become increasingly nervous about flying as US and European airlines have been selectively cancelling flights to Israel after a rocket landed near the airport in Tel Aviv. Meanwhile, a Malaysian airline flight carrying 239 people that disappeared in March is yet to be found.
Lightning never strikes the same place twice, but the Malaysian Airlines has clearly had more than its fair share of tragedies to deal with this year. After flight MH17 vanished in February, flight MH17 was allegedly shot down in Ukraine, leading to the demise of 298 people. Without surprise, someone must be held accountable, and Ukrainians as well as some world leaders like the Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott blame pro-Russian separatists for shooting down the plane.
I have to tell you that the initial response of the Russian ambassador was to blame Ukraine for this, and I have to say that is deeply, deeply unsatisfactory. We all know that there are problems in Ukraine. We also know who is very substantially to blame for those problems, and the idea that Russia can somehow say that none of this has anything to do with them because it happened in Ukrainian airspace frankly does not stand up to any serious scrutiny.
Many are demanding explanations from Russia, since there is no smoke without fire.
I ask that Russia give its unqualified support for a full, thorough, credible, international, independent investigation into the causes of the downing of this flight. I ask for Russia's unqualified support for United Nations Security Council resolutions that would facilitate such an investigation. I also sought Russia's unqualified support in seeking a ceasefire so that the site can be secured, not only for the investigation but for consular purposes, to retrieve the bodies and to retrieve whatever debris may be relevant to the investigation.
The Malaysian Transport Minister Liew Jong Lei did not spare words. He expressed outrage about the lack of human decency, if in fact the Malaysian airliner down over Ukraine was found to have been shut down.
In recent hours, officials in the US and Ukraine have indicated that Malaysia Airlines flight MH17 was shot down. Should this be confirmed, it will be contravening international law and be an outrage against human decency. Malaysia condemns any such action in the strongest possible terms and calls for those responsible to be swiftly brought to justice.
This sad occurrence opens up wounds which haven't healed since flight MH370 went missing a few months ago, carrying nearly 300 people on board. This incident could have one effect or the other. It could bring Ukraine and Russia to the negotiating table, or it could cause things to spiral even more out of control.
It's time to take a short break, but when we return, Aviation this week sits with a former military officer, Captain John Obakolo, who shares his thoughts on the MH17 tragedy.
The Boeing 777 family of jetliners is one that is preferred by passengers and airlines around the world.
The aircraft size and the layout of that aircraft provides a passenger product which is second to none, and we hear it all the time from our passengers. They marvel at the features in the aircraft.
Since its entry into service in June 1995, the 777 family consists of 5 passenger models, with the ability to fly point-to-point non-stop to bypass crowded and busy hub airports, and a freighter model. The 777 interior offers operators unsurpassed configuration flexibility. Large overhead compartments provide passengers with increased storage capacity. The 777's advanced wing enhances the airplane's ability to climb quickly and cruise at high altitudes and speeds than competing airplanes. It also allows the airplane to carry full passenger payloads out of many high elevation, high temperature airfields. The 777 makes extensive use of lightweight, cost-effective structural materials that lessen the overall weight of the airplane and contributes to its fuel efficiency. The aircraft seats from 301 to 386 passengers in a 3-class configuration with a range capability of 5,240 nautical miles, about 9,700 kilometers, to 9,395 nautical miles, about 17,395 kilometers. The airplane is available in 6 models: the 777-200, the 777-200ER, the largest 777-300, 2 new long-range models, the 777-300ER and the 777-200LR Worldliner, the world's longest range commercial airplane, and the Boeing 777 freighter. The Boeing 777 held a very good safety record prior to the disappearance of flight MH370, and there is still no evidence there was anything wrong with the plane to cause it to drop off the radar. Boeing has delivered more than 1,000 of its long-range wide-body 777 planes to airlines across the world since 1995, and there have been fewer than 60 incidents reported with the aircraft, according to the U.S. National Transportation Safety Board. The most notable incident involving the jet was the horror crash of an Asiana Airlines 777-200 plane at the San Francisco airport last year, which killed 3 people. However, no fault with the aircraft has been found in the ongoing investigation.